for Laser, but a lot of those matches weren't necessarily against the top tier of competition, against ECL teams, for example. So it's going to be interesting. I would heavily lean towards Nouns, and we're going to jump into the action. Here we go. Map number 1 is about to get underway.
Knife round won by Laser themselves, so they'll be able to start on their basically map pick and their choice of side as well. So let's see what the game plan is for the Brazilians in this opening round for the Laser side. Nouns going through with this with 2 smokes and 2 Molotovs. A more utility-heavy approach as Landon will take first contact.
Yep, out of position. He throws the smoke down to try and hold on here, but gives up cave in the process. He's a lot more distance. They're trying to do it at the bottom of ramp, but Carson gets one. I think a follow-up is going to come through as well from Junior. And no, it's actually Rush, but Landon's holding the fort, at least for now, until George connects with a bullet to his dome. 3v2 in favor of Nouns. Tadazine did manage to regain the space into cave. Now he's going to peer around as he hears that bomb being planted, see if he can catch off the planter. He'll do nothing of the sort. Carson the headshot, and George the last on to W1 to give Nouns the 1-0 lead.
Yeah, I like the idea there from Laser. They're trying to go pushing down Banana to try and get some opening frags, but I think Nouns just do a very good job of finding out that aggression exists and playing with their food in a way. You have a player jump spotting on the top of that boost box, and then a player shoulder baiting as well as a third player swings wide. It's just too many targets to follow, and those dual Berettas, sure they can spam down range with that many bullets, but it's just really hard to track. Laser will now go through with a force buy of sorts, but I always kind of question these defensive force buys. It's always tough to try to make them work.
Yeah, it's never easy. We already talked many times about that CT economy being so hard to settle down, especially if you lose the pistol and you can't really find momentum in the early goings. So oftentimes you find yourself forcing and hoping that you can connect with some headshots and make it interesting. Well, we'll see if that'll be the case for Laser here. The Deagle, 3.57s and 1K9 available. W1, oh, nice shot, at least from the 5.7, but George returns the favor with the Galil and will come out victorious, giving his team the man edge. In the meantime, Nouns have walked over to the non-stacked site, that is B, and it will be a free plant and likely the round over. I'm very doubtful that Laser will try for a retake. They're probably just going to try and reset in the next round with the guns they have.
You can double dip this force buy, no problem. W1 will just have USP, but they've got to keep these 4 players alive and see what they can do. But for the most part, George single-handedly winning that round by establishing mid-control and then finding Donut as early as possible. Standard stuff here for Nouns. They're just getting the job done and making sure not to overcomplicate things. I can't tell you how many times I've seen top-level opposition in North America just try to overcompensate and try to overwhelm the opponent by going into stacks, knowingly going into stacks, and losing the round. I mean, I've seen Wildcard fall to that kind of an issue a couple times with their previous rosters.
No, definitely. I think one team that comes to mind in particular is going a little bit far back, though. Paladin is Bad News Bears. Janji was part of that roster, and Shake as well. Like, they would just go right in and charge into stacks, honestly, and I didn't understand it sometimes. Oftentimes it worked out for them, but it just felt like they definitely could have deviated themselves to the opposite site and made life a lot easier for themselves. And I agree with you. It's the right choice. You don't have to flex your muscles, you know. It's in terms of mechanics. You can flex them in terms of your intelligence and your strategies as well, and I think that is even more impactful.
Yeah, completely agree with you, folks. This round is not live. Landon seems to have some sort of ping issue, and we'll have a match medic just shortly. This is the kind of issue that can happen when we do have Brazilian rosters within North America. This happened a lot with like Payne and MIBR and folks when they were here as well. It's just the nature of the beast, and we just have to get it sorted. We want to make sure it's a fair couple of best of ones across the board. I'd hate for Laser to have to play with a sub or a stand-in or any of the sort, you know.
Yeah, not to mention Landon's their opper too, right? So that's going to be, you need someone who can come in and take care of the opping duties
Hmm.
should he not be able to reconnect. But I imagine things will be fine and they'll get him back into the server in just a little bit. Actually, just going to check on that quickly. And it looks like I think he's back in, and they're just doing a medic right now to get everything sorted. So we should be back into the server in just a few moments here. But already, a nice start for Nouns. 2-0 is not necessarily something that Laser can't come back from, but it's still looking solid for them. Even on that pistol round, it was nice strategically.
Yeah, I think they definitely understand. Like they can't underestimate their opponents at this
Definitely
point.
not. Yeah.
They've got to play their game, and like coming into the new season, a lot of the times you're just trying to like shake off the ring rust and say, okay, let's try to establish our playbook once more, establish that momentum that we built at the late end of the season, and kind of continue that and rebuild that basically once you start back into the new season. Because again, similar to other moments in history, like I can't tell you where like so many teams that have these great streaks at the end of the season just completely lose all of that momentum when they come back in, because there's something about just like continuously playing matches where they're like in that flow state. They've got their routine down to a T and they're just getting wins after wins. But sometimes the player break can snap that. I mean, look at Liquid side, right? When they had that player break right before the Berlin major and they get upset and they get knocked out because they didn't practice before they came back from the player break into the major. So stuff like that. I mean, of course, that's at a different level, but you can always apply that to the lower tiers as well. And I think that applies to many different North American rosters across time. So I hope that Nouns understand that. Adren was part of that roster actually, coaching that Liquid
Yeah.
roster. So I'm sure he can kind of impart those words of wisdom to the Nouns roster and make sure that they understand the gravitas of even simple games like this. They should be kind of like just to check off the list of players that you should, a team that you should be beating, but it does set a precedent of what we're looking towards when they play a PA, when they play an M80 later down in the regular season.
Yeah, I think I need like an adren behind me to talk me up in certain points. I took a little bit of break from CS2 and I've been
Mm-hmm.
absolutely miserable coming back into it. So yeah, it's always important to have those coaches to keep your head level and make sure
Mm-hmm.
that the strategies are on point and everything is still solid when you're going back into it. Anyway, we should be live with the matchup again in just a moment here, guys. As we wait to get into the action here. One thing, I'm not sure that Laser has a coach right now. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think they do. Do you have any information on that?
I don't know if they do. I'm pretty sure they don't. I think they were thinking about having one when they were under that Sojoka banner, but it looks like that might have fallen apart, and they're
Right.
just going with this 5-man unit. And it's always going to be tough to like not only get a team house within NA and have all the 5 players like taken care of and bought out from the org, but also getting a coach under that banner. It's gonna be tough, but yeah, I'm not exactly sure. And the other thing is that you're gonna have that coach come down to North America as well, which is also a tough ask, right? So trying to find a Brazilian coach to fit all of those requirements will always be
Yeah.
a tough bar to climb.
Definitely a struggle. Update, by the way, guys. CJ just lost power, so now we have to wait a little bit longer. I think we're going to take a quick break here, guys. And hopefully, when we come back, everything will be sorted. We'll see you guys in a little bit. We're back. Hopefully no more issues, guys. I think Landon crashed after CJ came back, but here we are, round number 3. George charging out Carson, insta headshot onto W1. Moth actually does get a response here onto Carson, and Landon a wicked deagle shot onto George. 4v3 in favor of Laser. So they're making a lot of noise here, and they've managed to pick up a couple of guns. The thing is, in all of that chaos, Nouns did manage to find the space in towards the B site, and they're going to start to spam away at the players who are trying to rotate from CT. I don't think there's a path really back in for Laser at this point. Maybe they can throw those smokes and charge on forward, but I guess they're going to give it a try. I honestly felt like saving the guns would have been worthwhile, although it is a 4-3, so, you know, they can try to charge in even though they're completely isolated by those smokes right now.
Yeah, you really want Denoka to try and find something here as soon as he scales on the site. It's taking so long. Finally, he gets an opportunity to strike, but Junior is there immediately to trade out. Thinking this pistol will also fall. Yeah, Moth will fall. And maybe 1000 can find one on the fallback, but CJ has heard the bullets ring out, and he'll hold on to this. But a lot of rebuys have to come out for Nouns with all those players going down. Solid build double dip for Laser. And now Landon gets his AWP out. He gets a full belt of utility. And Laser get away with an AK as well. So, I mean, things look good for the CT side as they finally get the guns out.
No, definitely. I think that's a nice play from Laser, at least to do the damage to the economy of Nouns. If you're looking at the money there, it's only CJ who's got a comfortable bit of cash at 4.9k. Everyone else quite low. Junior peeking around, gets the shot on W1, who was jiggle peeking a little bit too far around that corner. Denoka's going to try and make up for it. He does with one. Can he get a second? Yes, it's actually Landon who finds it, but Rush will find the immediate trade, and now they've got the space gained onto the A site. Laser already setting up for a potential retake. They got the utility this time to try and get on in. You see Tadazin is looking to lead that charge. Flashed in, going forward, but they're all waiting from the same angle. Nice shot.
Eventually, Carson has to make some sort of a move, but George has the bomb, and he's the one with the advanced position. It's being watched. Now it's Rush's turn to strike, and he'll find one of his own. Molly in. Bomb should be able to go down, I'd like to think. Yeah, there it is. Smoke.
He thinks someone's
dropped,
aiming.
Yeah, they're just so worried about a flank at this point. But there's nothing there. They're chasing ghosts at this point. And another Molotov to start to delay things, but Jordan will plant it nonetheless. Landon gets out, has an opportunity out of kill onto Rush. He has to flick over, but Rush is a little quicker.
Yeah, that's a nice shot from Rush, making it a 2v1 here. Moth going for the 1v2 clutch, throws the smoke out for Donut. That will sort of isolate the fights. Yeah, it will. George doesn't care. Hits the headshot immediately onto Moth and says, you can isolate the fights all you want. You have to get past me first. And he does not. 4-0 in favor of Nouns, and that one will hurt the pocketbooks of Laser. Looking at the money, probably just going to be a half buy coming through here, and it will be a potent one, right? You've got 3 MP9s coming in and the A1S for W1.
Yeah, I mean, you've got max loss bonus. You can take some risks. You can try to purchase down. I think W1, even with this aggressive purchase, should still be able to get out at least a FAMAS in the following round. So no harm, no foul in that sense. The triple play for them into the cave. They want to take all that lane pressure, but again, right place, right time for Nouns, as they basically got this A site for free. Sure, there's a dink, but there's a kill as well for W1. He'll rotate into Temple. Has another opportunity at a kill if he looks for it, but CJ is there to take that away from him. So this bomb should be able to go down unless Laser want to go swarm his.
Well, Rush does actually get dropped by Landon's pistol. The Molotov should come in. It might be a little bit late. CJ does manage to clean the clock of Denoka, and now a 3v3 situation. You're looking at Laser's money. It's still good, right? They can buy up in the next round more than likely, so I think we're going to test it a little bit more. Moth gets caught up by George. He gets dinked, but it's not too bad, and Tadazin says, okay, it's time to pull the plug. We got to fall back and save whatever we can. He's got the armor and the MP9. Landon only a P50. He's going to hunt around and see if he can find something on the ground, but I mean, they're going to have to go all the way back to A main to find anything, and that's what they're going to try to do. Maybe get frags here, and there's one and a second. Georgian Jr. offering up upgrades to the laser players, and CJ goes down to the bomb as Tadazin will get an upgrade to an AWP. That is a big piece to get off the board, and Nouns continue to struggle to keep bodies up, and you see that in their economy.
Yeah, this is not the cleanest 5-0 start. This can all kind of fall apart if they're not able to continue to string these rounds together as they continue to force buy, or not force buy, repurchase really. But now with this tack timeout coming in for Laser, they have an opportunity to take out the double sticks if they want to, considering they were able to save one. That option is available to them. But there does need to be a little bit of a change up. Right now, they're kind of gambling a little too much for my liking. You're having triple plays in important positions. You're having a lot of eggs being put into a specific part of the map. And I don't really like that. It's not a good, efficient way to play the defense on Ancient. But sooner or later, I think they'll realize that and try to hold back a little bit more.
This might be a tech timeout. It is! Landon crashed. So, waiting for Landon to rejoin. He might already be in the server, and it could just be the HUD that is not updated. We're going to check on this. All right. Yeah. It is indeed another crash that's come through. It's unbelievable, man. It's one of those days. But there he is, back in the server. Welcome.
Yes!
Back to CS2, Landon. Yes, indeed. We have a lot to celebrate here. And Nouns has even more to celebrate than Laser, of course, with this 5-0 lead. Like we said, though, a little precarious because their economy hasn't really had a chance to kind of get built up a little bit here. But they will have AKs across the board regardless versus Laser. Got that all picked up off the ground, which they could have bought anyway, but it helps them build up an economy that is exceptionally more valuable on the CT side.
Immediate utility being deployed off of lane. Here comes that aggression, and George goes down immediately. There's a team kill involved, and actually Nouns come the better of it. There's only one player on the site proper for Laser, and there will be no immediate rotations either, so this bomb should be able to go down no problem, and 1000 has fought immediately ahead of that smoke, going 1-for-1. Still a man advantage available for Nouns, and they'll make it a 1v3 for Landon.
Landon gets the shot onto Rush. That's a freebie for him. Rush is pushing through the smoke, a little bit ill-advised. Bomb is planted, and it's going to be tough for Landon to push his way back into the site with the AWP. There isn't really a rifle nearby him either, so I think he is going to choose to fall back. Had the kit, but maybe this is a situation that he decided to pull the plug on. It will be 6-0 in favor of Nouns. Again, they lose a lot of bodies, but the important thing is, at least for them, is they keep racking up these rounds.
Yeah, things look very good for Nouns right now. I mean, they're calling out gambles, they're calling out aggressive maneuvers that Laser are trying to send Nouns' way, but I think when you try to play chaotic CS with these guys, 9 times out of 10 you will not succeed. I feel like that is where they flourish and where they provide some of their best rounds of Counter-Strike. So I think Laser, you've got to temper your expectations a little bit. You've got to find another way to start chaining together rounds, because for the time being, Nouns have just really had Laser's number in every step of the way.
George's going to try and take the fight early here towards mid, but a Molotov slows him down a little bit. I should say an incendiary. Thrown by the CT side. Flash comes out for George to gain a little more space. They already have the smoke thrown for Red Room, so George does have the ability to push up further if he wants to, not to mention Carson's watching lane. But they're going to be a little bit more tempered with how quickly they go up here. It's mostly a default right now for Nouns. They're looking for pushes.
They've got themselves mid control, full lane control as well. A lot of early map control gained, and this is what I was kind of hoping for Laser, that they would sit back a little bit more and not get too gambly with things. But, I mean, they're getting pulled apart this map and then some, so they're going to have to start making some hard decisions. and bolster one part of the map at the very least. They're going to try to crunch on mid-late, straight into George's crosshairs. And George finds one. That's huge in the grand scheme of things. They're going to continue to waste time to try and clear him out. That by the time they do, Nouns will pounce on a B.
Yeah, and that's 3 confirmed players there for George. So now you can say, hey guys, just go in. There's 1 at most in your vicinity. They're watching the flank for the pushes. They should be able to get this slant down. Good spam by Moth through the smoke. Takes down CJ. Denoco connected on down to 43. And they will indeed find that bomb plant. But again, a little bit precarious in the post-plant situation. Landon really looking and hoping he can help his team out with an important op frag here. Junior sprayed down to 34. Smoke in Carson's face. That will isolate one of his players. Junior's in a really tough spot. He's just hiding behind pillar. Pops around, gets his head taken off. W1 and Moth moving in. Rush the last one standing. He just has to buy time here. He's doing it for now, but won't be able to close it out. Finally, Laser have got a round on the board.
Yeah, that's great work there from Laser. Confirming a post plant that they should be winning every single time. Fantastic smoke to deploy. You're not risking the random swing into cave. You're simplifying that retake as much as possible. I like that little setup that they had where they're spamming that bomb pillar, and as the reload comes in, the second player is already there to bait out a shot. And you know, we spoke about how close these rounds were and how they aren't able to actually save too many guns at the tail end of the 6 rounds won for Nouns. And now they have to suffer the consequences. It is an eco and a way back in for Laser to start climbing back into this game of Ancient.
Nouns are always very lethal with those pistols. I would say particularly Carson with the Deagle can pop off a few nice shots. So Laser cannot sit back on their heels here. 3 players for Nouns working their way up towards that B ramp. Junior leading the charge. He's overlooking Landon not long, but he wants to try and hide himself from that angle. Cubby here and misses the shot. Gets taken down to 13 HP. Tadazine wide swinging around that corner, but eventually will retreat, playing it more passive. Nade connects for some damage, but it won't find Junior, so still no frags here in the first minute of play of this round, and Nouns are, well, they're running out of time to make a move here. Tadazine's got a great position as well to punish should they charge through. Good flashbang zone. Tadazine gets 1, 2, and maybe a third here. Yes, he does find, actually no, it's Moth and Landon who are going to get 2 and 3 and 4 in terms of the frags, and Junior the last one standing here.
Pretty much a formality at this point. Laser getting that eco over and done with, and to keep as many players alive, and they'll keep that clean sheet. So second round found for the Brazilians as they slowly start to make their way back into this game. I'm liking the adaptation from them. They're understanding how they want to approach this map a little bit more. Of course, when you play against a roster like Nouns, it's always going to be tough to find your bearings in all of this chaos. Slowly but surely, they're finally finding their footing. Tack timeout for Nouns as Adren gets on the mic to really discuss this round. I think this does have some serious ramifications as far as where this half is going to shift towards. 6 rounds is plenty on the T side for sure, if you're Nouns, but you want to confirm as many as you can at this point, because you know when you get off to a 6-0 start and you end the half at a potential 6-6, you do feel like you could have gotten away with it a little bit more. So a lot kind of riding on this in terms of their mentality as far as the rest of this map goes.
Definitely. I agree with that. So, you know, we'll see. They called the timeout. They talked things over. Now they're going to run into round number 9 with a plan ahead of them. 4 Galils and the lone AK available to them. Why did they do that? Well, they want the full util set for everyone. They don't care as much about having that one-shot headshot potential. Hey, you know, the Galil has 5 more bullets than the AK, so that's something. They're going to be charging out towards that B site. And they do get one. George immediately traded. W1 gains this space, so now they have to be careful going up towards lane. They do have CJ coming in a little bit late. Could catch them off. Oh my goodness, Rush just charging through the Molotov, and it works. He's actually supporting CJ, who himself finds a 2K, and now Tadazin or Moth are the last two standing towards the B site. A peek around does not net Tadazin anything, and Moth will manage to get the trade. But with this position, position. No, Carson delivers the killing blow, and Nouns are right back on the scoreboard with a 7th.
That's an all-out brawl in mid, and sometimes they won't go in the CT's favor, especially when CJ is hitting shots like that. He's got the support from Rush. It's a bold call to fight within those flames, but I do believe that was a T Molotov, meaning that he does take less damage in that. So, as you can see, even after taking that many ticks, he was still on 63 HP. So, things look pretty good for them as far as that mid-coach is concerned, and then it's kind of a Hail Mary play for those rest of those B players, just trying to see if they can find something that sticks and backs turn, but not to be this time around. And Laser, their funds are running dry, trying their hardest to stay within this game, but right now, mechanically, Nouns are just a step above.
That's a nice nade pop coming through there, and Incendiary goes for K from Rush. He's got the sight, but he gets traded after finding one. Moth could find the follow-up as well, and he does. There you go, 2K for Laser. A lot of damage taken by W1 towards the A site, though, and that's where the hit is actually coming. Dinoco and CJ trade another couple of kills, and we've got a 2v2 on our hands. CJ's going to try and stick this plant. There's a player right around the corner. Is he going to spot CJ in time? I don't know if you'll see him at all. There we go, and Junior protects him. His guardian angel saves the day. Moth, the last one standing in a 2v1 that could not have been played better, but Moth is going to try and throw a wrench into Nouns' plans. Bomb ticking away. Moth moving around. Junior gets off the angle. Oh, he slips past too. Makes the readjustment. No way Moth expects this, and that will do it. 8-2 in favor of Nouns.
That is insane from Junior.
Yeah.
I mean, he hears the extra footstep from the player in Temple and opts to leave that angle. That is crazy. And as soon as he gets behind it, you know the round is over. There's no chance for that clutch to ever happen. But when you look at it from a bird's eye view, that is just Carson running Laser around in circles, just basically chasing ghosts. Two players go out B, and they're already through A main, right? I mean, it's a war on two fronts, and Laser essentially lose both of them. So right now, Nouns just having their way with Laser, and the CTs can't do anything about it. This time, it seems like a little bit of a 4-1 split into that A site, with George being that late lurk as they try to approach this first letter of the alphabet.
Yeah, George plays that lurk role really well. Moth will get the opener here on Carson towards a main. The follow from Dinoco. This is just a half buy from Laser. It's already started out very well. It's typical of the way this entire half plays out so far. George is going to get the response. There's another player here, and he won't get the headshot there. In fact, he gets one on himself from Moth. 4v2, AK upgrade now available, and I mean, Nouns are trapped. They have to just commit here because they don't know what's behind them, and they have to use the control that they've gained.
Junior's considering trying to plant, but I mean, that is basically a death sentence. An AK and an MP9 on the other end. You've got players able to cut off potential rotations away. I mean, CT spawn is open. If they want to plant B, there is that gap. But 30 seconds left on the clock. At this point, I think they're just trying to find a straggling CT to punish and confirm that bomb plant. They don't have a smoke for Donut either. So this plant to be secured is going to be a tough one. They're essentially going to have to plant for CT spawn.
Yeah.
And hope that there's nobody there. Luckily, there isn't.
Oh, man. Well, we'll see if they can pull it off. They do have one unarmored player in land, and he's the one coming from A main. Laser slowly but surely going to move their way into the site. They didn't bite at all on the potential rotation towards the B site, even though it was kind of vulnerable. Tadazine might have been the reason why, because he rotated around. There's CJ finding Landon. Junior's got a really good angle here. No, kill comes out. Is it at the wrong time? Indeed it is. Tadazine finds him, and Moth gets CJ. There we go. Defusal will be coming through safely, and Laser have got themselves a third round on an eco. Or I should say a half buy, but still.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit brazen to go for that A main play contact against a half buy. And I do think that a little bit of a misplay with those flashes. I think if you hold your ground, I think hindsight's 20/20. I think he's thinking that there's just nobody coming through CT spawn, so he can chance it. But Tadazid just plays that so passively and never shows his face that eventually that is just the kill that defines. round number 11 for Laser. So they salvaged 3 rounds, had a chance for a 4th as well, but it's going to be an all-out mid-brawl here for Nouns at the last round of the half, and they're able to get out. They're able to pretty much do it with no damage taken.
Yeah.
And Laser will have to recuperate.
Strike first, misses the shot, and Carson will make him pay for that. 5v4 immediately here, and now they're going to flood in towards CT spawn and into the A site. The bomb is still back towards mid. Junior needs to be careful how he plays this, and he does manage to spray Denoco down to 40 HP. I think he's going to leave that to Rush to take care of, and Rush will indeed do exactly that. Junior hears the footsteps on the flank. He has to get a move on, realizes that. Now Rush going to be watching, waiting for that player that Junior heard. It is W1. Towards Donut. The other two are trying to come in from the B site, but this looks very, very good for Nouns. Rush gets the headshot, even though W1 had the advantage there. Madison finds a response, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Indeed, it won't be. Moth, the last one standing up against 4 players, nigh impossible, and indeed, it will be a Nouns round victory. 9-3 in their favor as we head to the halftime break. All right, we're back. Second half of action. Nouns have a very commanding lead heading into the second half. 9-3, only 4 away from securing map number 1 here. Well, Laser did make some noise in the latter part of that half, though, right?
Yeah, they salvaged something that could have spiraled way further out of control. And now they've got to see if they can make do with these 3 rounds and make a crazy, crazy comeback. They've got themselves 2 picks to start things off. They just go charging through their own red room smoke. They'll wrap in a B into George's dual Berettas. but I don't even think he'll be able to hear much of this. And they've got Molotovs to stall out a swing. And this should be, in every sense of the word, a laser pistol round.
Probably. I'm leaning more towards definitely here. As Junior and CJ are trapped in one angle. There's Junior, last one standing, nothing doing. He only gets one. And that will give Laser their 4th round on the board. An important one to get here, to get off to a quick start here in the second half. I imagine Nouns force here, but I'm not sure because they have the 5-round lead. Old Nouns would have done it, but new Nouns are a little more patient.
Yeah, I think they're going to opt in for the full eco. And look, I think it's the more rational decision. You don't want this lead to balloon. You don't want them to get too confident either. We know how hyper-aggressive Laser have shown themselves to be, at least on that defense.
Yep.
And it's a whole other can of worms to try and unravel that on the offense.
Landed on a nature over a donut, and it will be CJ connecting with a headshot, and, well, a little bit of damage done, but that'll be the end of it, right?
Yeah, oh, Carson does find another. And there's a couple more low HP bars. He's going to recover that Galil, but Moth, that high HP bar, should be able to handle this no problem. And actually, Carson just opting in to completely save the Galil, which you can. It's not like I personally wouldn't save it, but I think it's really just a priority of the dollars in the bank account more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, like I was talking about earlier, and like we've talked about many times, like that CT economy is so important to stabilize. So I think it's definitely a matter of, hey, we need to get the money going here a little bit sooner rather than later, and that Galil will certainly help their cause there. Laser, though, they got a couple here in a row to kick off this second half. The lead's cut down to 4. Landon wants to try and hunt down Carson. I don't think that's going to happen, and it will not.
Now then, that saved Galil. It'll come alongside full rifles for Nouns. Not everything you could ask for, but solid enough to fight back against this bonus round of sorts for the T side. Junior tries to go for a glass cannon AWP. Haven't really spoken his name all too much, and curious to see what kind of stance he takes, aggressive or otherwise, but he's tasked with just holding on to the A side of the map all on his own.
Yeah, he's pretty good at this, honestly, anchoring down the A site with the AWP. So we'll see if Laser can punch through there. They're not really threatening A that much right now. They've got 3 players leaning towards the B site, the bomb included. Rush, holding this angle, may catch Dinoco off guard. We'll see if he hard clears him off. Rush comes out, and actually Carson supporting makes it even easier for Rush. Carson taking all the damage there. Secure the frag, and Landon's managed to get a response. Intel's on the other side, and Rush will have to retreat now as he is sprayed down to 22. 4v4, Junior readjusting himself. That flashbang is so good. Moth gets in. I don't know if Junior expects it. He does, and he connects through the wall onto Moth. Taking him down to half health. Then the headshot. Peeks again, and that's a step too far. W1 will find him, but Carson's right there for the immediate trade, so good on Nouns, making the adjustment to deny the space, but Laser even better, dynamically moving themselves towards the B site and securing a bomb plant in the process.
That's the power of having a little bit of mid control and that shelf control, most importantly. They hold on to lane for so long that they have the option to double back. Credit to Tadazin for that. And here comes that inevitable plant. The pin drops, and Nouns come in for the rotation. They've got a kit up, but a couple of low HP bars. It should be all on Carson there, but yeah, as you said, decent enough damage to have a big impact.
But they fall back. It's not enough for them. They decide that they want to save the AWP and the AK, which I think is potentially the right choice here. It's a 2v2. Tadazin, I mean, that's confirmed damage from Carson. But they
the kit was dropped
not
too.
enough. Yeah. I guess the kit being dropped is another factor. You're right.
Well, Laser making a game out of this one. John cuts the lead down to 3, and most likely 2, bar any
I don't
crazy
think so.
shenanigans.
The only reason I think is because they got the double save. They have enough money to buy up here, and Nouns are going to invest. There's no way they don't buy up here with Carson at 5.9K. There you go. So it's going to be a decent amount of hardware available to Nouns. I think utility should be pretty strong as well. I wouldn't say that 2-round lead or cutting it down to a 2-round lead for Laser
Yeah,
is a 4-round
I was
conclusion.
mistaken.
Yeah, it's okay. As we move in, 1:45 on the clock. CJ, oh, he wants to get aggressive. This could work out for him. CJ decides to fall back instead. Thinks that caution is the better side of valor here. Nade gonna come at that. Nade could be so very chonky. There it goes. And, well, he had 2 players get connected on from it. CJ gets nothing, though. He is deleted off the server in this round, and Carson will follow him there to the depths of the map. 5v3 in favor of Laser, and it's already a save call for Nouns. So it is that
Very,
2-round.
yeah, I guess it did come through, but I really didn't like that A setup from Nouns there. I mean, you've got a player that's like all the way back in CT spawn, and that nade is decent, but like on an MP9 alone, you're not really gonna have much impact without at least a little bit of support. There was a round previous that Laser had where they had an MP9 involved, and you had like a little bit of a high-low setup. You had a player on tree and a player below that fighting and aiming between each other, and that's where you can have a little bit more potency, but it doesn't work out, and that defense just kind of rolls over. Not the prettiest round there from Nouns, and Laser capitalizes. Great spacing between them to make sure that all those trades go as swimmingly as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Laser starting to impress us a little bit. Timeout going to be called here from Nouns to talk things over. They are also a little bit rattled as to the proceedings of this second half. Looking at the buy-up, though, they still got the saved guns through, so they will be able to invest once more, and it's even stronger than the previous one. They've got to be a little better on the defensive side. Looking at Laser's history in the last few matches they've played, look in particular against One More, that was a very close series. The last map specifically, Nuke, 19-22 loss to One More, and that was in relegation. Then you look at CCT Season 2, North America qualifier number 1, I believe, or North America number 1, excuse me. Carpe Diem, that matchup, they won it and defeated Carpe Diem on Dust 2 19-17 and on Nuke 13-9. And we saw now Carpe Diem, known as Limitless, of course, play last night. Not necessarily a team that's at the top of ECL, but they've certainly kind of cemented themselves around the middle part of it. And I would say that's an important win for Laser heading into this season. And right here, well, you guys are seeing it live.
Yeah, there's definitely something to be excited about this Laser roster. They've shown that good form, but this one they're gonna have to dig deep in a 4v5 as they lose W1. Again, CJ plays with that shadow angle, this time deploys a Molotov, but the flash is absolutely immaculate. It catches out CJ, but Junior isn't missing a beat. Triple kill for him, and right into Carson's crosshairs goes the IGL, and Laser crumble in round number 17, and Nouns found themselves double digits.
Yeah, those saves were so important for Nouns to keep the guns up and running round after round, as opposed to having to settle for a save. They never had to do that at any point, and that is what allowed them the opportunity to eventually strike back. And of course, that sizable lead coming to the second half assists them as well. 10-7 still. Laser will have the AKs coming through, but this might be a make or break round for them. Going out there towards mid, yeah.
I mean, they're so hell-bent on trying to crack through this A defense, but Junior, again, is able to take first contact. This is a little different to the round previous. They've been able to get this far up, but not aware of the sniper rifle. Moth is ahead of the incendiary, but Junior hits a magical flick. Make that a triple. Junior's on for one. Make it a quad kill. And it's all up to W1 late on, and Junior wants this ace so badly. They're kicking up the smoke, but they're not able to find him. What a round. Back-to-back there for Junior.
Oh my goodness, Junior's exploded now up to the top of the scoreboard with 15 frags. As you mentioned, looking to get that ace here. They're just waiting for the smoke to fade. W1 was about to show himself, but waits a little bit longer. Gotta watch Junior's perspective here to see if he can pull this one off. Molotov goes in.
Oh, give it to him, man.
Oh, no. And he throws the smoke, and now they're spamming with the AK. Junior, take the shot. Oh, no. W1 is going to fade off here momentarily. 4 Nouns players, all 5 in fact, are just leaning into the angle. They know he's here. They're trying to flush him out to give Junior that shot at the ace. He's waiting there, lined up. There it is! Junior connects finally. Made him wait a good 40 seconds, but the ace comes through for the offer of Nouns.
Man, I mean, every bit of that sequence was just immaculate to watch. That's why he is heralded within North America. He has that capability to just take over. And look at what that's done to the Brazilian economy. 2 Tech 9s for Landon and Moth, a Mac 10 for Tadazin, and their economy has just been completely snapped here, John. Talk about backs against the wall.
This
They're going
is
A
going to become...
again.
They're going in again! Junior misses the shot. That is a big miss because now Laser can try to funnel in. They also find the frag onto CJ, and Junior can't really re-peek. Molotovs are coming in, utilities everywhere. This is just a full-on rush from Laser that so far has worked out pretty well. Round not over yet, and there's plenty of money in the bank here for now. So they're going to go for this one. They need something. Another great flashbang thrown into Catacombs onto Junior. Dinoco looking around, spamming through the smoke, connects onto Rush. I mean, there's a world where you still try for this one, but saving is probably a good idea because you have to keep your economy healthy. They still feel like they want to go in. George gets headshotted by W1. Junior, a nice little flick onto Tadazin as he came around the corner, and they're going to push in, as they should, to try and take out these Nouns players. Junior misses a shot. Looked like it was on, but it will be Laser getting all of the players off the server on the Nouns side and getting an 8th for themselves.
It is insane behavior to call this many A hits. They're thinking, yeah, Junior, he's not doing that again. And they'd be right. It was one missed shot from Junior, and that pretty much spelled disaster because CJ genuinely has been having some trouble off of Donut. I don't think that he's been having as much impact as I've been hoping for, but he is kind of also in charge of middle, so being pulled back and forth is going to be a tough ask. And Nouns stay firmly deciding that this is not going to happen again. They're not going to go A for like, what, the 5th time? And they've been right in that decision making. Oh my god!
Okay, Carson, what is that? Just a dead-on spam through the panel. The lineup comes through. A man advantage in a way that neither of us expected, but they've got it for Nouns. Laser just trying to reset themselves off of that and say, okay, a little bit unlucky in that situation, but we will try again. And they've got 2 players moving into mid. The bomb carrier is also out, going to meet up with both players, I imagine, into lane. Does Junior have an angle here? He might if they go a little bit further to the right, but they don't. Rush waiting in cave to greet them here. Smoke's going to go out that delay Laser a little bit further. And they've got 3 players on. There's Junior spotting out W1, who tried to poke in towards mid once more. That time, he was watching.
And now it's so telegraphed that this B hit is coming. They know that lane has been lost. A 3-player stack can come in. This is going to be a limp execute at best. 30 seconds left on the clock. They've got no other choice at this point, John. They're going to have to go basically full gray screen. And I don't think they've got what it takes at this point.
Carson going to get another. George on the board as well, and Landon, the last one standing. Oh, goodness. Landon, 14 seconds. I think he just wants to try and save the op. Going down after time would be catastrophic, so he has to get the heck out of dodge. But he hangs around. Just wants to hold this angle. Nouns looking everywhere to see where he might have ended up. And at the end of it all, they're not going to spot him. He's going to be able to save the AWP. But Nouns have the all-important 12th round victory, and they are on for map point.
Lovely, lovely stuff here for Nouns. They find a way to finally stabilize off the back of Junior's ace. And since then, it does feel like he's turned to another gear. 94 ADR, 18 and 10. shooting up the scoreboard. And with that, Lazer's economy has been shattered, even more so than the rounds previous. And they're really just sending it all out in middle from W1's Mac 10. He'll go 1-for-1 that they can favor. But now it's up to George, going very aggressive. Cold call here. They take out the AWP, but the team kill is there from Tadazin, and Rush will finish out the job. 13-8 goes the way of Nouns in this opening map. And, you know, I gotta say, good effort from Lazer, showing a little bit of a fight. But you can just see the caliber and the mechanics of these players on Nouns across the board will eventually just get the job done, and then some.
Yeah, absolutely. But definitely Laser gave them run for their money at certain points, in particular around the middle point of that second half. We saw, okay, something might be material.